Southeastern Conference is meeting this morning with all 14 athletics directors. In fact, Ross Dellenger of Sports Illustrated was the first to have that at SI last week before he took off for vacation, and right back at it here on a Monday morning, fresh off of the beach, is our guy, College Football Insider, one of the best to do it. He's over at SI. He's on Twitter at Ross Dellenger, formerly of The Advocate, covering LSU, is with us on a Monday morning. Ross, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are y'all doing?
Okay. All right.
What's up, dude? The weekend was good. High energy this morning, Ross, on this Monday. Ready to start the week? Yeah.
At Orange Beach looked like a good trip. Monday morning comes early.
Yeah, the most recent trip was to the Outer Banks in North Carolina. It was the first time I'd ever been there. It was good. I'd rather be back at the Outer Banks now, and instead of just talking to you guys. But
yes. No offense taken. Delly, what do you expect coming out of Birmingham this morning?
Well, it's tough to predict things these days. Seems like everything's changing so quickly, and even when people tell you, "Oh, we're not going to have a decision, or we're not going to do this or that until this time," everything's changing by the day. But as of Friday, this meeting today was not produce really anything too significant of a decision, especially when it comes to something like the magnitude of a conference-only schedule. I think that's something that they'll wait on a little bit. But then again, you never know. We saw a lot obviously change over the weekend. So I don't know how that really changes the SEC's thinking. I don't think it does. So what will happen today will probably be mostly just like smaller things that they're deciding on, contingency plan type things. Okay, if there is a season, here's how our in-season testing will work. I think that's probably a bigger topic of discussion. The SEC's just like a couple other conferences. They're going to wait a little bit until they make some kind of big decision on like to go to a conference-only schedule, or something like that. So I don't expect that necessarily from today.
Ross, just take your reporter hat off for a minute and give me your personal feelings here. You've got great relationships within the college football game, within all conferences and schools. Where is your confidence level that they're going to play in the fall?
Not good. Mid-June, the confidence level was and you could go all even back to when the shutdown happened, really back to like late March, and you felt then like it was so far away that, oh, surely we're going to have football. You almost felt like 100%, and then April got there and you saw cases get pretty bad, and then you saw a shutdown, but you still, again, you're so far away, and we kept hearing that from college football leaders, is you're so far away. Still felt like it was somewhere 90, 100%, and then May got there, and it even though some states slowly started opening, I don't know, it felt like, it started to drop a little bit. But then we saw that lull in early June, and all these kids came back to campus, and everything seemed good. And it's like, hey, I'm sitting at 70, 80%. We're going to start on time and have a season. And then everything changed within 2 or 3 weeks when just the cases increased nationwide. And not only did the number of cases, but the percent positive of tests increase. That's the big thing to look at, because obviously with testing, so we're going to have more cases. But not only are we have more cases, we have more percent positive cases, and that's the big thing. And some hospitals in certain areas are starting to get full again. And so at that point, I was thinking, man, we'll be lucky. It's a coin toss, 50%. And now I'm under 50%. I mean, I'm 30, 40% that we're going to have, some kind of complete season in the fall. You can forget about starting on time, I think. I mean, for most conferences, we're not going to start on time. And so that's kind of already, I feel like that ship's almost already sailed.
What do you need to see to get your confidence back?
Well, that's a good question. And I asked last week, and we had a story Thursday morning on SI. It was this long story we spent like a week on. Basically, trying to dive into this issue and how administrators are handling it and the doubts they're having now and why they're having the doubts. And of course, later that day, the news broke about the Big Ten conference only. So I think that story kind of, it didn't have much runtime. But in that story, we were trying to answer that question. And the question is the answer is pretty clear, pretty simple. The cases have to go down everywhere. And the cases nationally have to go down. It's not really as much about the cases on campuses. It's about the cases in general. And I think it's number one, you can't have widespread testing in college football if you have all these other people who need tests, who are sick or maybe symptomatic in some way. That's the first thing of why cases have to go down, why you can't play college football. It's just the testing component, needing all the tens of thousands of tests you need. And there's some leaders that think that the testing could become scarce because of the amount of people now affected by the virus. Number two, it's hospitals. Local public health departments and hospitals are being inundated again, especially in places like Texas, Arizona, California. There's some places in Florida. It's just the optics of it, having college athletics and using all these tests and all this stuff when you have full hospitals and scarce testing and all that for those who really need it. So those are like the big reasons why, the big issues, why the whole nationwide virus count has to start plateauing or going down before you can have some kind of football, and that's how it's going to be. And right now it doesn't look good.
So Ross, and you're right, it does feel a little pessimistic on this Monday for the hopes of football season. And I kept talking about it to open the show, but look, the SEC, the Big Ten, these are conferences that produce right at $1 billion in revenue. They are going to push the envelope as far as they can in terms of justifying and having a football season. But there is a line where the decision kind of gets taken out of their hands. I don't know if you're going to be able to nail down where that line is exactly, but where would the eventual pressure come from to where Greg Sankey can't even make a decision? They just can't play football. Like, where do you see those sources of pressure being?
The doctors. It would be the medical experts. So there's basically two medical experts from each of the Power 5 conferences. So there's 10 of them. It's a panel of 10. And each week they meet on a teleconference with the Power 5 commissioners, and they go over the latest issues in each of the conference, each of their regions, and they talk about the potential for football. And it would be those doctors saying you can't do it. You can't do it because the testing issue. You can't do it because the hospitals are getting full. You can't do it because we can't create a bubble on college campuses, and there's just too much infection going on around the college campuses community. So until they say that, I guess they'll keep pushing forward. These Power 5 conferences, they'll keep pushing forward. But they're on a weekly call, and I was talking to Bob Bowlesby last week about this, Big 12 commissioner. He said, they haven't yet told us to shut it down, which is kind of a way to say it might happen at some point, but they haven't yet done it. So it has to be that panel, say, look, because of the rising cases, the amount of cases, we just can't do it. And people might be wondering, who are listening to this, well, there's some pro sports doing it. Why, pro sports are coming back and they're having all these practices and they're scheduled for these games. Pro sports teams, first of all, they're a limited number, but 30 baseball teams, Major League Baseball teams, around 30 NBA teams, and you have roughly 130 just FBS football teams. You can see that just the sheer number is different. And the number two here is the bubble. College is going to be hard for college campuses to create a bubble like the NBA is doing, or even Major League Baseball is doing. And even in the bubble that they're creating in MLB and NBA, they're having issues. The bubble's getting infiltrated by infection.
Yeah.
So it's tough. It's
ugly
tough.
on it.
Yeah.
Ross Dellenger here with us on Off the Bench. Ross, when you talk to decision makers, when you talk to athletic directors and head coaches, where is their headspace at right now?
Well, I think they're in an interesting position, and I'll be honest, I haven't talked to a lot of head coaches recently. It's kind of funny. I usually do talk every week to so many head coaches, but that's kind of going by the wayside, and now it's the ADs and commissioners, just because they're the ones obviously going to be making the decision based off of the doctors, like I just mentioned and stuff. But ADs are in a weird they're in a weird position because they're still trying to create contingency plans for a season that a lot of them believe will not happen, or won't at least happen in the fall. So it's kind of there's kind of an odd time, a difficult time, because not only are they trying to create contingency plans for a season that might not happen, but they're trying to fight obviously financial issues on their own campuses when it comes to everybody thinks college athletic leaders swim in this ocean of profit, and there's a small handful of do, and one of them is there in Baton Rouge, but there's many of them do not swim in profit. They barely break even. Some of them don't break even at all, and so especially at the Group of 5 level, there's some serious financial issues happening, and serious enough for some even real small schools have been the Division 3 level, Division 2 level, to close not just athletic department, but a school have closed.
Oh,
so
wow.
There's some real financial issues happening right now, and so they're dealing with that too. So their heads are swimming with contingency plans and trying to have a season and fighting these financial issues. It's certainly a tough time to be an athletic director. They are making they're certainly I know a lot of them get flack for the compensation they receive, but they're earning the paycheck these days.
Ross, welcome back. Hope you had a good vacation. Thank you for the information this morning.
All right, guys. See y'all.
Thanks, Ross.
Dellenger checking in. We'll close out.